Hello, hello. So it's going to be story time, and I'm actually going to talk about an event that happened today while I was editing the video. The video that I'm going to give you guys later is going to be about how to always have a deep meditation. And essentially, what I'm teaching you is how to consciously shift your state of being into a consciousness that, you can have your psychic abilities come up, you can have insane experiences, etc., etc. But it's the fundamental practice of consciously changing your state of being. Oh, my bad. That is really going to be the concept that you need to understand. And with that, that is a practice that I like to do when I do my healing. So while I was editing, I started to feel this sad emotion come up. It was kind of like a flicker and then went away. So I felt like I should go do my shower method. And I turned on the hot water and I sat down and I asked myself, what sad emotion needs to be worked on? And with that, I just kind of set the intention to shift into whatever emotion I need to deal with. And with that, I'm going to talk about it in the video, but you kind of go into an observer mode. You don't force your body to do anything. You don't guide yourself to go into any certain state of being. You just let it shift and let it do what it needs to do because your body knows. So I just close my eyes and literally go into this trance-like state and just let the emotion completely control all my body, everything that I'm going to say, every action that I do until the healing process is over. And what happened is I went into the shower, I went into the hot water, and instantly I started to retract. I started hugging myself. I crossed my legs really hard. I put my head down close to my chest, kind of like when you're scared or you're really sad and you just curl up into a ball, except I was standing. And I started murmuring, why did they hurt me? Why did they hurt me? Why did they hurt me? And then soon I found myself on the floor of the bathtub, curled into a fetal position really hard, sitting, of course, with the water just pouring over me. And at this point, I am just shaking my head left and right and saying it a lot louder. Why did they hurt me? Why did they hurt me? Why did they hurt me? And so I asked myself, what does this mean? Like, what am I talking about by why did they hurt me? And what happened was it's talking about like past relationships. And most of my romantic relationships, I've ended up getting hurt in a lot of different ways. And I just never really dealt with it. I just kind of forced myself to be happy until I was happy, faking it till you make it, instead of going through the natural process of dealing with the emotion. And so this was kind of dealing with the scraps of things that I'd healed before. So it was a collective. And with this, it was really sad to, be aware of myself like this because I was in a tight fetal position on my bathtub floor. But then I noticed an anger. And very quickly, this sadness turned into that anger. And this anger started to rise and rise and rise until soon I was like, my fist started clenching and I stood up and I felt like a beast. That's the only way I can describe it. And I knew that I wanted to start screaming and yelling at the top of my lungs, but I had to choke myself up. So instead I went like, ah! And I started to punch a bunch of things hard. And it's kind of scary, actually. And again, because I was just being aware, I was just being aware of what I was doing because I was in a trance-like state. And soon I noticed something weird. My body started to flex really hard. Every single muscle started flexing at one time, and I would stick my tongue out and crush my lungs with my arms because I was flexing them and contracting them inwards, as well as flexing my abs and exhaling all at the same time. So I would exhale when I would flex, and I would inhale when I would relax. And I did this multiple times. And I was kind of curious with what I was doing because now it seemed like my body was trying to get rid of something, since I was technically wheezing, just going over and over again, flexing and relaxing. And then I noticed that this is something familiar, that I'd done something similar to this before. And a memory came up of last year, actually, around this time. I was doing Kundalini yoga, which at some point I should probably talk about those experiences. But I was doing Kundalini yoga, and there was this pose called the lion's pose. And in the lion's pose, you do the lion's breath, where what you do is you contract all your muscles as hard as you can, and you exhale and stick your tongue out and look straight up. And what this pose is ideal for releasing negative energy. And when you contract your body really hard, what you're doing is you're releasing all the negative energy inside, stored inside you. All the anger and stress is what it's ideally targeting. And I thought that it was insane that in this trance like state, just letting my body do what it needed to do to get through this, it pulled from that memory and pulled from that technique. Because what that is that is a pranayama exercise, which pretty much means that it's directly dealing with prana through breath work. So that was awesome. And I actually looked it up later to see if I was right. And of course, yeah, it's called lion's breath and it works with lion's pose. So that was awesome to see that my body was doing that. And I thought it was super cool that when you put yourself in trance-like states and just go into observer mode and trust that your body's going to do what it needs to do, it'll do some insane things. And afterwards, I did my normal prana exercise just to test it, and I felt a lot more clarity when it came to my chest. When I do the prana work, working with my chest area, I could feel the motions a whole lot more. And of course, now the prana exercise wakes me up a whole lot more because the energy can flow a whole lot easier. There's not so much gunk in my pipe, so to say. So yeah, that was an awesome experience that I had today, and that's pretty much the story. I highly recommend doing that shower technique that I say, and you don't have to do it in the shower. It's just that the hot water really accelerates the process of the healing, and the cold water is kind of like, how do you describe it? It's a calming method because you can put yourself into some frantic states, and the cold water is kind of to hose you down and be like, hey, you're here, you're fine, you're okay. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the story. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, and I hope you guys enjoy the video tomorrow.